Good evening. My name is Daniel Libenson, and I'm the executive director of the Johanna and Herman H. Newberger Hillel Center at the University of Chicago. I got that one wrong last year. And it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 61st annual Latke-Hamantash Debate. Now, I'd like to thank the Newberger Family Foundation for once again sponsoring the debate. Unfortunately, Joe and Jeanette Newberger could not be here with us tonight, but they'll be watching the DVD, so won't you join me in thanking them for sponsoring the debate once again this year? Now, I'd like to ask you, first of all, in keeping with the somber and important nature of the event, would you please turn your cell phones off? And I also want to reassure those of you with more liberal leanings that not a single word that you will hear tonight was written by a writer from the Writers Guild of America, and you shouldn't worry that you're doing anything wrong by being here. We were concerned that if we left the writing up to the debaters themselves, the debate wouldn't be as good as usual, but they've risen to the task this year, and we're proud of them. So, of course, this is the 61st year that the Latke-Hamantash Debate has taken place. And when one looks at the number 61, of course, one can't help but think of the number 613, which is, of course, the number of commandments that God commanded us to observe. Now, separating the 61 from the 3 yields the formula 61 plus 3, which, of course, equals 64, which is a number more closely in keeping with the number of commandments actually observed. Now, as most of you know, each Hebrew letter is assigned a particular numerical value, and it's kind of like Roman numerals, which we all learned about in grade school. So in Roman numerals, the number 64 would be LX psi V. The L is a 50, the X is a 10, the I is well, you carry the 1 and, well, you get the idea. So the Hebrew system is much more straightforward because it was created by God. And it makes a lot more sense. So each letter has a particular value. Now here, this is the word nivuah, which adding up the letters equals 64, and that means in Hebrew a prophecy. So what I understand my role here today is to deliver a prophecy to you, which makes a lot of sense when you consider that my own namesake, Daniel, was one of the most significant prophets in the Bible. Now, of course, there is no prophet in his own city, but I'm still new to Chicago, having only been here a little over a year, so it's not really my city, and I'm hoping that you will heed me. If you don't, it will be at your peril. So what is this prophecy? Again, let's consider that this is the 61st annual Latke-Hamantash Debate, and as we all know, 120 represents the number of years in a lifespan that the Jewish tradition generally ascribes to a righteous person. Moses, for example, lived 120 years, and we commonly say to people, may you live till 120, which is cold comfort on one's 119th birthday, of course. But our sages teach us that an argument for the sake of heaven will long endure. It's obviously the Latke-Hamantash Debate is an argument for the sake of heaven, of course. That is a righteous argument. So what do we mean by long endure? Well, obviously this must refer to 120 years. So the Latke-Hamantash Debate will last 120 years, and we had the first 60, and now, of course, we're in the second. So the handwriting on the wall really could not be more clear, ladies and gentlemen, than if it were written by the hand of God itself. The end of the Latke-Hamantash Debate is near, and I urge you to repent. And 60 years is not a long time. It'll pass in the blink of an eye. As King David wrote, of course, in Psalm 144, a man is nothing. His days are like a passing shadow. And according to Psalm 90, for God, 1,000 years are like one day. So if for God, the Latke-Hamantash Debate has practically ceased and departed from the world already. In fact, if 1,000 years is like one day to God, then 60 years is like 1 hour and 26 minutes, which incidentally is the expected length of tonight's debate. So this could be it, my friends. You might want to pack your bags. This conundrum may be resolved tonight. Or that's what I was going to say, then it occurred to me there's another way to look at this situation. You'll recall that in Hebrew numerology, or gematria, works differently from the Roman. Whereas the number 61 can be represented by the letters Samech Aleph, this is unlike the situation in Roman numerals, where if you transpose the X and the L, you end up with a different number, 61 versus 41. In the Hebrew, it's the same. So Samech Aleph is the same as Aleph Samech, which of course we all know is the first letters of the Hebrew words Ein Sof, or meaning infinite or never-ending, endless. And so what this teaches us is that you might think that the 61st year is really the beginning of the end of the Latke-Hamantash Debate, but really it's the beginning of the beginning of something that will last forever. However, this does not resolve the ultimate issue. Just because we know that the Latke-Hamantash will not end does not mean we know where it will take place. Will this debate continue to be here in Mandel Hall, here on Earth, or perhaps in God's heavenly yeshiva, where it would be more appropriate? So, could the infinite, perhaps this idea of the infinite, which we have derived, be a sign that the Messiah is coming, perhaps even tonight? So let me close my opening remarks by bringing to bear one other Talmudic aphorism. The rabbis taught that a person who attributes a statement in the name of its original sayer, that is, a person who cites his sources and provides proper attribution, brings redemption to the world. And in a few moments, you will hear arguments from some of the University of Chicago's most illustrious scholars, people well known for their academic integrity, and many sources will be cited here tonight. And for this reason, there is always the chance that the redemption of the world might come tonight. If it does come, I would like to point out that there are several clearly marked exits on either side of the back, as well as on either side of the stage. Please follow the Messiah in an orderly line, and for God's sake, grab some latkes and hamantaschen on your way out at the reception in Hutch Commons. So, having failed once again to resolve the question of the superiority of the latke or the hamantash from within our tradition, and in the spirit of Moses, who learned from his father-in-law, the Midianite priest Jethro, and in the spirit of Maimonides, whose work was so influenced by that of Aristotle, and of course in the spirit of Matisyahu, who would be nothing without Bob Marley, we turn to the University of Chicago's greatest minds and beg them to bring the knowledge of their fields to resolve this most important of questions. God willing, they will fail, and we'll see you here again for the 62nd annual Latke-Hamantash Debate on November 25th, 2008. That's the actual date, so mark your calendar.